Vyrah reporting for duty. Another stream. I'm gonna do some reacts. Let's watch some good old YouTube together. Still cannot believe that like it's entertaining. I mean, I get it, but like, you know, it's kind of like when you're born and bred in a certain culture, and irony as the irony fucking make miracles happen. No clue, don't know, but like, whatever. I won't complain about it. My completely fucking life. Is my stream completely fucked? No, okay. Alright. Ten weird gaming stories of June 2026 from Gamer Ranks. If you don't know Gamer Ranks, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. They're really awesome. They're an awesome team. Alright. So, weird gaming stories. I actually forgot about these weird, like, this format of that Gamer Ranks did. Like, I'm actually fucking curious because people are stupid and they do weird things, and it's really, like, let's check it out. I'm actually really excited about this.
June 2026 was super weird. We had summer showcases dumping trailers like they were legally obligated to reveal 400 games and then potentially close or sell off the studios. Oh my god. And don't even get me started on hardware prices. Hi folks, it's Falcon. Join the 1% Club. Get the Falcon Show exclusively every weekend. Today on Game Ranks, the weird gaming stories of June 2026. Starting off at number 10, and this is just as absurd as you can possibly imagine. A fake GTA 6 on Roblox charged people to run. Like, walking's the free trial, and then you run by paying. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6's launch is kind of a looming event, like, I don't know, certain people view the Rapture, I guess. Hopefully it turns out better than a Rapture would, though. But in the meantime, while people are waiting, Roblox creators have naturally stepped in to provide the next best thing, fake GTA 6. And by next best thing, I mean a legally distinct fever dream where Vice City is rebuilt by somebody who may or may not be a child. And Roblox pretty famous for child labor at this point. That's they're doing the work of making the games, and Roblox taking 70%. With people, I think, rightly criticizing Grand Theft Auto 6 and its Ultimate Edition, locking some stuff that, I mean, you'd normally expect to be in the standard edition behind a $20 paywall. The idea of locking running in behind your Ultimate Edition. That's what this is. We laugh to get through the pain that this is the reality of the world. They are just really coming up with fun ways to make money, aren't they? And they, in this case, might not be a multinational corporation, but might be a child who has learned from a multinational corporation, I guess.
That's interesting. That's cool.
And number 9, we have Battlefield 6 doing something truly dangerous, briefly giving people hope. I'm sorry. I
okay.
Myself up a little bit sometimes.
I'm listening.
I'm also doing this first thing in the morning, folks. The old brain is way dumber. Anyway, on June 30th, after the 1.3.3 Battlefield 6 update, players reportedly got an in-game message saying XP boosters would start counting down based on the in-game time instead of in real-world time, which is the kind of change that feels like a normal-ass correct, perhaps, decision. Up till now, these boosters tick down in real time, meaning the XP bonus just evaporates. It could be while you're loading, could be while you're in a queue, changing the scope, staring at menus.
Yeah, when you're literally like, oh my fucking god, this is like the worst. When you are like biologically fucking forced to have like any other needs, and you cannot just split Battlefield, and because of that your XP booster fucking like disappears without you ever like having the full time for the price you pay. Like these are like really archaic and fucking like outdated fucking systems. The fuck?
News, like they literally began counting down immediately after activation, including outside a match, which not exactly like the most
completely
bang for your
outdated.
buck in my opinion. So this message apparently went out and everybody celebrated. For once,
Yeah.
money-hungry video game companies appeared to be doing something less money-hungry. An XP boost that, as a gameplay bonus...
Oh my fucking god, are we so fucking... Is it so fucking bad? Because like, oh my fucking god.
only counted down during gameplay.
I don't play fucking Battlefield. Fucking XP boost, people get hope for that. I'm like, well, okay, man.
It's such a wild, revolutionary concept. Of course, their PR team stepped in to say, no, that was an error. We were not going to make any changes to how XP boosters work. What's annoying about that, though, is this isn't even the first time Battlefield 6 has teased this kind of improvement, and it's not even the first time it's accidentally done so.
How the fuck is not the first time? This is the most odd one fucking thing that I hear about the problem that is so fucking archaic. In my like, for real, the glitches, it's probably fucking like it's coded probably on fucking like, you know, paper printers, you know, like just the keyboard, and that's how they fucking make the game. Because like, how the fuck do you have like problems like this, and on top of that, it's not the first time. Like, outdated, it's so outdated.
They did this one other time earlier in the month, literally changing the text of
Fuck you! Like, what the fuck?
the XP booster to say it would only count down during active matches, and then saying, no, that was incorrect, that was an accident. So, within the span of a month, they actually teased a quality of life fix twice.
It's such a fucking, like, nothing level of quality of life, and on top of that, they tease that, and I'm like... Sometimes I complain about like the fucking video games that I play, because like, fuck, man. And then I see this and I'm like, okay, you know what? This humbled me. Like, this quite humbled me. Fuck you if you fucking play Battlefield.
To back off and blue ball everyone both times. Like, if they do it a third time, it's comedy. Like, not nice comedy, mean comedy. At number 8, we've got the Xbox situation. We have a report, apparently, that Microsoft isn't going to reduce its overall investment in games, despite all of these ongoing reports and rumors about studio closures, layoffs, project cancellation, and the general Xbox vibe of, if you work here, you should probably update your resume. What this means is they're shifting priorities. They've bought all these freaking studios, but now it seems like they're going to cull the ones that can't contribute to Halo, Forza, Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. That seems to be the long and short of it. On one side, Microsoft...
Oh my fucking god, Fallout fell off so hard. Fallout 4, I remember the hype, and I remember the memes, best game ever. You say the word Fallout, there's a fucking nerd that is like, if he hears it in the stream, he fucking get like a brain aneurysm, like just a fucking plain heart attack hearing this the fucking name Fallout. Oh my fucking god, Fallout! Talk about like a game that fell out. Oh my fucking god. Don't forget to unsubscribe, leave a dislike, and a hateful comment for this fucking joke. Oh my god.
Say, don't worry, we're still investing in games. On the other, there's a bunch of reports of like Double Fine and Compulsion and Ninja Theory being closed or sold off. There's a big rumor now that Arcane as a whole is going to be shut down, and that the Blade project they've been working on may be canceled, which would suck a lot. I mean, can we just say that Xbox is basically a failure? Like, you'll notice that during that brief moment of, oh, they're gonna fix everything, where the new CEO came in and everybody expressed some degree of optimism, that I didn't say shit. I may have said the words, I'll believe
I think that like I have like no optimism whatsoever except like in fucking gaming studios. Like for real, your consoles, whatever the fuck politics. Why the fuck like am I doing like politics with people and I'm learning like the corporate life of whatever the I don't care. Like these fucking like arguments. I used to fucking think about it and now I'm like, why the fuck do I care about Activision? Why the fuck do I care about Xbox, what they're doing, or whatever the fuck? It's a fucking console selling product. Like, I just care about the game. Like, it's became so fucking stupid with time.
Believe it when I see it at the most, and this is why. Why would they be not a shit show because a new person is in charge? I don't think that people understand how much has to change within a company in order to actually change the company. It's not just the executives. The executives are certainly, yes, they pilot the ship, but wow, is there a lot of other stuff going on besides standing at the wheel and turning it. These people were already dealing with waves that simply moving the wheel a few degrees to the left isn't going to do anything. Xbox's problems don't go back 1 year or 2 years. They go back to the announcement of Xbox One. They thought they were going to be able to clean everything up by investing in a bunch of studios that make good games, and all that it's turned out to do is be Embracer 2.0. See, I learned from the Embracer situation. If somebody goes on a buying spree, that's the setup for them to die. Because none of these really big companies have adjusted to our new reality. We did a video maybe a couple weeks ago called Why Nobody is Buying Games. It actually kind of Uno reverses and demonstrates that people actually are buying games. They're just not the games that cost $70, $80. They're buying those games when they go on sale, or they're buying indies that cost between $15 and $30. In that video,
yeah, the exclusivity these days is like so fucking irrelevant unless you're like me and you're broke and you do content creation. In this case, good fucking like but like it's really rare that like exclusivity is something that like, unless it's like an online game, right? But like exclusivity has become like less and less important, and for real, the prices that people fucking pull you, like so many games where that you see released with a in-game store, and it's like, friend, like I just want to fucking play my story game. Like there's no online in it. Why the fuck do you have a store? You know, it's kind of like the example of like Assassin's Creed, right? Like for more map, more content, sure, but like, oh my fucking god, there's a fucking, oh my, like they almost have like the same fucking XP type of like, I'm pretty sure, like I don't know, and I will not search, but I am pretty sure that fucking Assassin's Creed had like must have had a season pass. It sounds like the fucking dumbest thing that this game could have, but like at this point I agree with like the fucking like being an unbeliever.
I make the case that games should cost between $15 and $30, $50 at the most, and I lay out a rationale that is grounded both in economic reality and the technological advances we have.
I mean, I understand, like you can pay a premium, but like you pay a premium for what? For a premium product. If the product is not premium, go fuck yourself with your askings with your like $80, $90, $100 price tag.
Experienced in the last 30 years. I highly recommend you watch it. If any of this particular point interests you at all, like all of the problems of the game industry, that is the video I recommend you watch next. And number 7, the Steam Machine's price was announced at $1,049.
$1,000
is apparently a luxury purchase now. Never mind that it's important for basically everything. Valve was apparently aiming much lower, but the memory market is as it is. And now, as you know, the whole data center expansion thing that's happening allegedly is the reason why RAM is going up in cost. But there is a lawsuit going on that alleges that the 3 primary makers of RAM actually colluded to drive the cost of RAM, like consumer RAM, way up. I'm very interested in where that goes, but it's also very early, so I don't want to talk about it too much. Either way, Valve wanted to sell the Steam machine for $750, and, well, they're not. The weird part is that Valve is still trying to pitch it as a decent value, which, I don't know. It might be, based on market conditions at least. I don't know if I consider it a great value.
It's still a fucking computer at the end of the day. And like, for real, like, sometimes what's great is just like the simplicity of you buy the Steam machine, it's a computer, you can play video games, you don't have to fucking like wonder what the fuck is in it or outside of it, and you like it's similar to a console, but you add the desktop like part to it, and that's it.
From an objective perspective, however, I don't know, what do you think? This is definitely one where we want to hear people's opinion. At number 6, Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil, sort of turned the whole is Let's Play killing games, you know, game streaming, walkthroughs with or without commentary, etc. He was apparently asked if he's okay with people streaming his games because of the potential that it might lower people's need to play the game. His response, I think, couldn't have been better. He said the developer's job is to make games that people want to clear with their own hands. Watching somebody else do it wets your whistle because the game looks so fun. And while some people might consider that a spicy take,
I think that overall, like, he has a point, but that's him. Like, for Resident Evil, it's actually like I have games that like I watch to play through because it's too scary to fucking play them myself. Okay, so as much as like I can agree with this point, like something it didn't took in account, like especially since it's the guy like the sells the Resident Evil games. And sometimes it's too spooky for me for someone to play. I just watched the let's play of someone that is not completely fucked in life, just like we're trying to fucking figure out how to not be scared 24/7.
I sure as hell don't. I mean, there's people who, when Let's Plays first started, that were saying things like YouTubers are destroying art. I know there's people who think streamers are making it so that it's impossible to sell games. But while a narrative is massively important, and to have something that motivates you to continue through the game, it's also not the only part of a game. A game isn't a movie, so if you can watch it like a movie, it's definitely not doing enough. Even like in purely narrative-focused games, in which there are choices to make that branch the narrative, that changes the fundamental nature of what it is. You should want to experience your version of that, and if something is truly, you should want to changes the fundamental.
See, Until Dawn, like I never fucking like play this game. Like I'll watch the playthrough because like it's really not my vibe, and it's too scary for me, too spooky.
Nature of what it is. You should want to experience your version of that, and if something is truly good, watching somebody else's version of that isn't going to be enough. I completely agree with him. I don't know, I feel like he's probably said something dumb at some point, but in my mind, Shinji Mikami has really contributed a lot of wisdom to games on top of, you know, creating incredible ones. At number 5, Halo Campaign Evolved is putting the game manual behind the premium edition, the standard edition being $50, the premium being $70, and one of the listed premium bonuses is a digital game manual, which is interesting because
Jesus fucking Christ, that digital game manual. Digital game manual. So they will make you fucking pay the fucking like a barcode as a fucking premium in the fucking premium version next time. What the fuck?
Every game way back when just had a manual in the box printed on usually nice paper, very often glossy, heavy paper, sometimes laminated. Now, I guess that's just sacred knowledge that you have to pay $20 extra for. Now, of course, Halo is a first-person shooter, and you don't really need a manual to play Halo, the first Halo.
No matter what.
Although, granted, there are some minor
Jesus fucking Christ, when will be the barcode? When will you make us pay for the barcode of the fucking game?
Halo. But on the other hand, this is probably meant to sort of reignite Halo. Don't you think the instruction manual, even if maybe not necessary, should just be part of the base package? At number 4, the Baldur's Gate 2 developers declined to make Baldur's Gate 4 after Larian said no. Not because Baldur's Gate 3 was not a massive hit or anything, but essentially because doing that kind of project again would be, according to lead designer James Olin, insane. Not only that, but he didn't want to compete with what Larian had already achieved with Baldur's Gate 3. As you know, the sequel to a game is generally intended to be bigger and better, and Baldur's Gate 3 is...
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is like good. The dude is like, look, about like making a sequel to Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not a crazy person who could fucking like making it better than they already made. I respect the way he complimented this like the game designers of Baldur's Gate 3. What the fuck? Like, no thank you, because like, how the fuck will I upgrade this and make it in any way better? I really like it.
Baldur's Gate 3. Nerves completely fried is the expectation that he sort of expressed if they had followed through on Baldur's Gate 4. On top of that, it probably greatly increased their operating capital, and whatever project they want to do, they now can, forever. And number 3, and maybe this isn't weird, but it feels weird to say. According to Capcom's financial report, Steam generated nearly twice as much revenue for Capcom as PlayStation did last year. Their revenue through Steam, meaning after Valve's 30% cut, Capcom's revenue was about $252 million, and PlayStation was about $129 million. This is without the Steam machine hooked up to the television. And the reason it feels weird to say this isn't that, I mean, PC is clearly the best gaming platform, because that's just true and has been for quite a while, in my opinion anyhow. But Capcom, I mean, is traditionally associated with consoles. In the 90s, they really thrived on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but it's the same with like PlayStation, like give accessibility, and at the same time, like by now, everyone has to own a computer to fucking write at least fucking emails for their own fucking like administrative fucking documents. You cannot fucking just get away with it with like with life by having a fucking smartphone. And so these are like kind of like the numbers that like makes it so like even for the gamers it's more accessible, but like at the same time, like you can live a full life without ever fucking buying a fucking Wii, right? Makes sense, right? You try to fucking do that without a fucking computer, right? Like, good fucking luck.
Nintendo, but also published on Sega Genesis, and then got into Resident Evil, which carried them through the latter half of the 90s to perhaps now even. But that was kind of a PlayStation-oriented franchise before it wasn't, and now they're just killing it on PC. For all the mistakes Capcom has made, if there's any company that I think every company should want to do what they're doing, it's them. And that's not necessarily to say everybody should be making survival horror or happy dad games in space, but all of these other companies need to be looking at Capcom and asking, why is this working for them? And they'll find that it's purely because they're making great games that take advantage of technological advances to make AAA experiences at a budget that would be looked at as AA 10 years ago, and laughing all the way to the bank. At number 2, Sony has started talking about the future of PlayStation, and we're sort of seeing weird wording that implies everybody wants to be Switch, Sony included. See, they want to offer a seamless experience that could be enjoyed naturally beyond the living room. But I'm just going to go ahead and say I think Sony might be doing a bit of a too little too late here. Nintendo's pretty much done it, you know? In terms of hybrid hardware, the Switch 2 is pretty much the thing that's gonna rule that area, other than the Steam Deck, because, as the last point pointed out, PC gaming is the superior format. It's...
Yeah, and once again, it's like the same fucking thing, where it's like, Nintendo really create and have franchises that like makes you fucking like want to come back and is accessible, because like think about it, most Nintendo products can be enjoyed by everyone. Like it's not the same as like, let's say, Xbox, right? But at the same time, yeah, no, like if they want to fucking compete with like the with Steam, I mean, good fucking luck, because like some like other computer, like it was like Asus that fucking tried to fucking launch a fucking gaming device, and they were like on the same so PlayStation. I'll fucking know, and it's not the first time that they tried to fucking implement this, and it never fucking works, because like it's too much of a fucking investment. Like,
where the games are selling, and it's increasingly making Xbox and PlayStation look like dinosaurs. The reason Switch doesn't look like a dinosaur is because there's a high likelihood they were partially the inspiration for the Steam Deck. They got the party started. Sony recently decided they weren't going to be putting their games on PC, and I think that's the dumbest possible strategy they could have. I just don't think that consoles, including hybrid consoles, are going to be a market that supports exclusivity in the way that Sony definitely wants it to. I think the exception that proves the rule is probably going to be Nintendo. They seem to understand that they're making Nintendo machines and have never wavered from that, whereas both Xbox and PlayStation have wavered from the idea that they are exclusive, and in that wavering essentially undermined all of it. Not that the actual conditions of the market weren't eventually going to undermine it anyway. These guys need to understand that PlayStation and Xbox are lifestyle brands at this point, and trying to act like they're more
that's a fair
I
point.
think is a mistake. I don't think Xbox and PlayStation need to go away, and maybe it's a little harsh to call them lifestyle brands, but I mean, look at Capcom's numbers, man. That's the writing on the wall. And finally, at number one, most hardware-related stories are a tragedy, but in this case, a gaming PC actually saved its owner's life after a bullet came through the wall from a neighbor's apartment. A bullet accidentally fired by the neighbor's dog. My instant question was, did this happen in Florida? And I was not given an answer. However, what happened was the person who nearly got shot woke up in the middle of the night to a large bang sound, of course a gunshot, and glass flying all over them, as in the inertia from the bullet was transferred to various components inside the computer, which ultimately broke whatever glass was on the outside of the computer and threw it at the person. The neighbor was apparently charged with criminal negligence and was extremely shook up by what happened. Also, the gun was confiscated. Can't imagine why. And apparently it took 3 days to clean up all the broken glass, but the cops, after investigating, said there was a high likelihood that the trajectory of the bullet would have directly hit the person telling this story. There's a ton of photographic evidence too, so it's not like it's just some tall tale told by somebody. The picture of the ram that the bullet actually finally deflected off of, the clearly destroyed, well, I don't know, maybe it's usable, but it looks pretty unusable ram. I mean, that's a
maybe
mini
it's
tragedy
usable.
in itself.
Yeah, pretty
given what we
fucking
know about
not.
RAM these days. But I mean, this person's probably really thinking they're lucky stars. That's all I've got for you today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed.
Thank you so much, Gamer Ranks. Don't forget to leave a like and drop them a sub. That was actually interesting. A lot more actually, like fucking like talking about like the gaming industry and stuff like that, which is like I thought it will be like more light to fucking talk about. And now we're back into the fucking Xbox, PlayStation politics of they're trying to fucking achieve something and nobody gives a fuck because people are here for like their game franchises. No one cares. Like if it runs, it runs. Like yeah. Alright. I'll be right back. All right. Let's keep going. The alters the last variable official gameplay trailer. Let's check it out. Okay, this sets up like the game right away.
This is Jan S. Dolsky communicating with myself. Time to wake up. There is much to do.
Oh, it's actually, wow.
At your disposal is everything I managed to develop, discover, and create. All the tools required to continue our research and solve the enigma of the Oasis.
Oh, damn.
Your task
What the fuck is this level of graphic?
terraform the planet's surface before the destructive sun arrives.
Damn, oh my fucking god.
I know, no one would be able to do this alone. That's why I'm
This looks,
everything I achieved.
this looks absolutely like next gen,
Including you.
next gen, you know?
Surely a team of your own specialized alterations can modify the equation. This place defines us.
So you,
Please tell me it's not some creepy experiment of yours. My notes were destroyed in the explosion, but I have a completely different passion now. Because in the end, with all the variables, questions, hypotheses, remember, this time, everything depends on you. We are talking, which means that I am dead and everything went as planned.
okay, this is actually fucking interesting. So basically, like, you have like the organized like let's say like settlement type of like RTS type of like logic, right? But you can explore, and basically like you are in, because usually like when you see this, you do not like go first person or like third person, and actually you can, and you can visit everything, and there's a world outside of it, which is like absolutely insane. And then the story, hey Zerikyu, and the story is that like you clone yourself, like it's actually fucking like uncanny as fuck. Like you clone yourself to fucking do your own researches and stuff like that. Then what the fuck, like, and the graphics, look at the fucking graphics, how pristine it is. Like the story looks really like thought out. The gameplay loops are like visibly like fun. Like now, as always, will it fuck it up? Like, oh, well, we'll never know, I guess. We'll never know until it's released or like get more information. But like, this is an interesting game, actually. This is like really interesting in so many ways. Elder's last variable, goddamn, like, interesting one. Do you come rating for today, Zerikyu? Like, I need to fucking finish my my React stream, and after that, I'm actually like already at 30 minutes. Yeah, okay. I'll yeah, after that I'll need to do some grocery shopping. And what time is, see if I can. I started like it's from 8 to 12. Like, doesn't matter if you can show up. Like, the problem is like technically I want to fucking start off with Sporefall, and after that like 2 hours of Voidspire should be able to. Yeah, nice, that's nice. Well, I'm slowly coming back. I think that like before the patch I want to really like make it like every week, so people actually show up. Like some days Yuriku, like I'll find an officer that will be that will do the raids if I'm not here, because like technically that will be like the only thing that like I will need, like finding an officer that organize raids in the name of the guild and does the fucking like if I'm not here, because like, oh my fucking god, sometimes I'm just so fucking out of it, and I have like so many other duties. So, but like for so far, yeah, I'll try to do that. All right. Ion 2 official welcome to Atreya update overview. So Ion, like basically like it was like a WoW killer back in the day, and basically it like every WoW killer, it didn't kill WoW, it killed itself, because like basically like if you but Ion 2 was announced, and I mean like there was like some news. I think that like Ion 2 is already there, and basically like they are like pushing for their IP, so this is actually like good news. What does it mean? Like, I don't know, but what I know is that like they have like good news for like us, like the fucking MMO island that we're living in, where like only WoW and Final Fantasy exists. So it's nice. Let's check it out.
Hi everyone.
저는 아이언2 글로벌 퍼블리싱을 담당하고 있는 소윤섭입니다. 이렇게 여러분들에게 인사를 드리게 되어 정말 뜻깊고 감격스럽습니다.
저는 아이온2의 게임 디렉터 김남준입니다. 여러분과 함께 아이온2에 대한 더 자세한 이야기를 나눌 날을 오랫동안 기다려왔습니다.
Hi everyone, I'm Mervli Kwai, also known as Krolin, and I'm the executive publishing producer for Ion2.
이 영상을 통해 저희는 아이언2를 기다려주신 전 세계 플레이어 여러분들과 연결되는 첫걸음을 공식적으로 시작합니다. 이제 여러분을 아이언2 속 아트레이아의 세계 속으로 안내해 드리겠습니다. 여러분 또한 언젠가 날아오르게 될 그 세계로 말입니다. 아이언2에 대해서 이야기하려면 원작을 이야기하지 않을 수 없을 것 같아요. 이 영상을 보고 계시는 많은 분들께서도
Yeah, the thing about the Ion is just like they have a vision and an architecture that is absolutely unbelievable. When they released the first game, it wasn't like, it was a hardware issue where like the technology wasn't there. But like now it's just like they have a beautiful vision when it comes to gameplay and whatever the fuck. Maybe they will have something more, right?
원작을 기억하고 계실 거라고 생각을
But like,
합니다.
look at that.
원작의 세계관에 대해서 모르시는 분들도 있을 것 같아 간단하게 설명을 드리겠습니다. 수천 년 전 아트레이아는 태고의 탑 아이온, 즉 영혼의 탑으로부터 탄생했습니다. 아이온이 처음 창조한 종족은 드라칸이었습니다. 강력한 힘으로 세계를 지배한 드라칸은 더 큰 힘을 갈망했고 일부는 각성에 성공해 드래곤이 되었습니다. 그중 가장 강력한 5 존재는 5용제라 불리게 되었고 드라칸은 스스로를 용족이라 칭하며 아이온에 맞서기 시작했습니다. 이에 아이온은 인간의 형상을 본뜬 12주신을 창조했고 주신들은 선택받은 인간들을 대바로 각성시켜 용족과 맞서게 했습니다. 그렇게 영혼의 탑을 중심으로 1000년이 넘는 전쟁이 이어졌습니다. 긴 전쟁 끝에 주신 이스라펠은 용족을 제거하려 했지만 계획은 실패했고 분노한 제1용제 프레기온의 공격으로 영혼의 탑과 아트레이아는 둘로 갈라지게 됩니다.
I think like as much as like I do not mind reading subtitles, it's such a fucking like it should have been better to get a translator, because like try to get into an MMORPG story, hearing it in Korean and watching subtitles, it takes away immersion. It's really just like complicated to do, because like MMORPGs are complicated games. So I think that like they really should have like got like an English like translator. But I understand that like it's the people from the team that want to present the product, so they're proud of it and they want to present it. So I understand that like they wanted to do it in person, and I respect them for that.
그 결과 세계는 천개와 마계로 분열되었고 탑이 무너진 자리에는 어비스가 탄생했습니다. 이후 천족과 마족 그리고 용족까지 어비스에 집결하며 새 종족의 끝없는 전쟁이 다시 시작되었습니다.
So there's three
여러분이
factions.
만나게 될 아이온2의 아트레이아는 영혼의 탑이 무너진 후 200년 뒤의 시점을 시대적 배경으로 두고 있습니다. 영혼의 탑이 무너지며 결계가 사라진 후 새로운 용제의 시대가 시작되었는데 천족과 마족 두 종족은 자신들의 생존을 위해 용족에 대항하고 있는 상황으로 여러분들께서는 두 종족 중 대바가 되는 과정을 따라가게 될 것입니다.
아이온2는 단순히 시간의 흐름에 따른 아트레이아의 후속 이야기가 아니라 그 당시 원작이 담아내지 못했던 기술적 한계와 상상력을 아이온2로 풀어낸 타이틀입니다. 쉽게 말하면 아이온의 완전판이라고 말씀드릴 수 있겠네요. 언리얼 엔진 5를 통한 차세대 그래픽 기술로
Yeah, as you mentioned it, like the technology wasn't there for Ion when they released it. That's pretty much it, and that's like not something to blame, like that you can blame them for that. Especially since they released Ion 2 like in this idea as well.
가장 아름다운 아트레이아를 구현했고 MMORPG 장르에서 플레이어가 느낄 수 있는 최고의 경험과 자유도를 체험하시게 될 것입니다. 탐험을 시작하면 기존보다 무려 36배 넓어진 아트레이아를 누비며 원작이 추구해온 궁극의 아름다움을 직접 경험하게 됩니다.
This is really
모든
pretty.
지역은 오픈월드로 설계되었으며 아이온의 핵심 요소인 자유로운 비행을 중심으로 구현되었습니다. 탐험은 하늘에서 그치지 않습니다. 수면 아래로 잠수하면 아름다운 수중 세계를 만날 수 있고 하늘이든 물속이든 지상에서 가능했던 활동을 모든 공간에서 즐길 수 있어 탐험의 경계가 완전히 사라지게 되었습니다.
Yeah, it's just a different fucking scale that like we don't have in WoW or Final Fantasy. Like now, like is it
아이온을
empty?
또 하나의 요소가 바로 캐릭터 커스터마이징이며 아이온2는 이를 그 어느 때보다 발전시켰습니다. 원작 시스템을 개성하고 대폭 확장하여 아이온2는 200여 가지가 넘는 영역에서 세밀한 자유도를 제공합니다. 눈의 위치와 동공의 모양부터 또렷한 핏줄 같은 디테일까지 캐릭터의 모든
We will need like not even like a couple more customization in WoW to make it bearable. Like watching this, I'm like, WoW could do at least like some effort when you see this, you know? Like it's fine nowadays, like it's good enough, but like oh my fucking god, like maybe a little more.
요소를 직접 정의할 수 있습니다. 이 정도의 깊이라면 많은 분들이 온전히 나만의 누구와도 닮지 않은 캐릭터를 만들기 위해 캐릭터 생성에 오랜 시간을 쏟게 되실 겁니다. 아이온2는 캐릭터 커스터마이징을 개인의 표현을 넘어 전 세계와 공유하는 경험으로 확장합니다.
Like look at this fucking like air
Ion 2
particle.
faithfully inherits the original 8 classes that were introduced in Ion: Gladiator, Templar,
Okay.
Assassin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Spirit Master, Cleric, and Chanter. The Gladiator and Templar serve as frontline tanks with exceptional durability, while the Assassin and Ranger specialize in swift attacks with deadly precision. The Sorcerer delivers devastating burst damage, the Spirit Master excels in solo-oriented gameplay, and the Cleric and Chanter focus on survivability while still retaining offensive capabilities of their own. These unique identities make each role feel distinct during party play, allowing for more strategic combinations
Wow.
and elevating cooperative gameplay to a whole new level.
Like the fucking like game looks fucking like just pretty. Like it looks like a fucking fake game, you know, like at this point. Like will it be fun though? Will it be fun though? Because like oh my fucking god, even running this game it might be a problem.
These 8 unique classes are built around the trinity of tanks, healers, and DPS that MMO players know and love, and each class brings something unique to a party. Whether you've always mained one role or want to try something new, Ion 2 is designed to make that choice feel meaningful, and the team play that follows even more so. Whether you're running content alone or coordinating with a full party, the game meets you wherever you are. Every dungeon is built to reward effort, and with so many dungeons to explore, the best loot is always just one run away.
That's a good philosophy.
아이온2의 역동적인 액션은 PVE 컨텐츠에만 국한되지 않습니다. 특정 시간마다 열리는 시공의 균열을 통해 상대 진영으로 침투할 수 있으며 거대한 공중섬에서 펼쳐지는 어비스 아티팩트 전면전에서는 두 종족이 전면전을 벌입니다. 좌우, 앞뒤, 위아래 어디서든 위협이 나타날 수 있어 이러한 전투는 플레이어를 끊임없는 긴장감 속으로 몰아넣습니다. 또한 아이온2의 PVE와 PVP 컨텐츠는 별도로 설계되어 플레이어는 자신의 성향에 맞는 방식으로 즐길 수 있습니다. 게다가 아이온2는 역동성과 액션성을 강조합니다. 후판
Let me just check something real quick.
정 논타기 시스템을 도입하여 직접 컨트롤하는 손맛과 숙련의 재미를 살린 MMORPG를 새롭게 경험하게 될 것입니다.
It's not enough to dominate the battlefield. You have to look good doing it. In Ion 2, equipment items obtained through PvE can be extracted or combined to unlock appearances. Divided across 3 categories, armor, weapons, and accessories, these cosmetics can be further customized by an intricate dye system. No look in Ion 2 is complete without the right wings. More than just a flight mechanic, wings are the crown jewel of character expression. They are the first thing others see when you soar over their heads, and are the final detail that brings an entire look together. With so many different wings to discover, there's something for everybody. That same drive.
When it comes to game design, it's actually really interesting that basically like you play as angels and demons. Everyone has wings. This is actually really, really interesting because it's an MMORPG. It's a beautiful, it's a resource MMORPG. It's a AAA, and on top of that, it's a really an idea that technically was never seen before, at least from my perspective. But it's everyone has wings, so angels or demons, and angels and demons. Everyone is an angel or demon. That's actually really interesting when it comes to I don't know, social dynamics and stuff like that. Just interesting.
To collect also extends to Ion 2's pet system. As you adventure across Atreia, the monsters you encounter can be captured and kept as companions.
Yeah, because mounts, not as much, but wings. Everyone has wings and stuff like that. That's actually really interesting.
Pets have
and everyone can fly, right?
Many unique animations. Some carry you, others allow you to sit on their shoulder, and some cling to your character in ways that are hard not to love. With so many original, stylish pets waiting to be found, the instinct to collect them all won't take long to kick in. For players who want to expand their collection even further, the in-game shop offers a wide range of cosmetics to make your character truly yours. From wings and outfits to weapon skins, accessories, and pets, every piece is designed to complement and build on the customization system at the game's core. I believe it's extremely important to preserve the identity of Ion 2. I'm not planning changes to the game's world, visuals, character designs, outfits, or overall aesthetic direction. We want global players to experience Ion 2 as the game it is, authentic to its true vision. Our cosmetic range is broad by design. Whether you prefer cute and casual looks or something more bold and striking, you will find ways to express yourself in Ion 2, and no 2 characters will look the same. All the items in the shop, like pets, wings, and outfits, are purely cosmetic and offer no direct combat benefits.
This is
customization available in the shop.
This is important to say, just so we clear that there's no pay to win in the game. So it's good that they said it.
Ion 2 includes additional products for those who want to engage more deeply with the game. We will offer a single membership priced at $15 per month that broadens your engagement across the game's core systems and unlocks full access to the game's player-driven economy. Ion 2 features a Battle Pass system with a free and paid track available for Kuna, the game's premium currency. As you naturally progress, the Battle Pass rewards your journey with additional items and cosmetics.
Battle Pass, why not? Why not if it's cosmetics? But I'm not a fan of Battle Passes in MMOs. It feels weird. It feels weird.
There's a lot more to share, and as we approach our September launch, we'll continue answering your questions. Every day, our teams around the world are working together to finally get you in and playing Ion 2, where the sky is no longer the limit. In the coming months, you will meet the people behind that effort. We're incredibly grateful for your support, and look forward to seeing you in Atreya.
출시 전까지 저희는 영상과 업데이트를
Okay. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to IGN. So the game looks absolutely fucking stunning. Gameplay wise, customization, great customization. Like everything is interesting about Ion. Like for real, like now the question is, will it stand? Will it be fun? And will it be popular enough to have like at least like a community? Like the only thing that like maybe I didn't like is just like blend the classic like the classes are, but like overall like this is a good news for MMO lovers, because like maybe may you play like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, maybe you'll be able to fucking like get a break and play another MMO for a fucking like find a way to get closer to touching grass, right? So yeah, no, beautiful game. Absolutely, like everything, like you just have to pause it, and everything is just like absolutely breathtaking. Like, look at that! What the fuck? Now, also like the question: will it be able to be like run on like normal like middle end hardware? We'll see, but like I hope it's a good game. Top 10 curious abilities in WoW beta that didn't make it to vanilla WoW. Don't forget to subscribe to Vye and leave a like. It's awesome. So yeah, actually, I'm really curious about this one.
In this video, we'll go over 10 abilities that were in the Classic WoW's beta, but did not make it to the live version of the game, or were added to the game much later on in WoW's history. And at number 10, we have Crusader Strike and Holy Strike. Now, I've already made a whole video about these two abilities.
Basically, Crusader Strike, I used to play Paladin Retribution during WoW. When I discovered about Crusader Strike, I was like, fuck you. Because technically it was my spec, and it was like the missing fucking thing that like made my spec work. But at the same time, I'm not unhappy about it, but like... I used to play Paladin Retribution in fucking Zul'Gurub, like, to give you an idea. But like, yeah, what a shame. But like, I understand, like, back then they were like still in this old school way to see MMOs and stuff like that. So I completely understand the logic of why Paladins never were given Crusader Strike.
And why they were removed. So I'll keep it brief at this part. Basically, Crusader Strike was a Ret Paladin ability that did damage and put a debuff on the target that increased your holy damage that would stack up to 5 times. And this ability had no cooldown, so it was an actual spammable ability that Ret Paladins had access to. And Holy Strike was just like the Warrior's Heroic Strike, except it did holy damage. Now, after I made my video on these two abilities, a fan then linked me an interview with Kevin Jordan on a podcast, who was one of the 3 original game designers on the Vanilla WoW team. And in that podcast, someone asked him why Crusader Strike and Holy Strike were removed from beta Paladins. And I'll play you an audio clip of what his answer to that question was.
The early beta incarnation of the Paladin was very much placeholder. A lot of the early classes, sort of before they hit, final testing, had a lot of placeholder abilities. Well, he needs buttons to push while he's running around, but we're not quite ready with their full systems. So a lot of people just had buttons to push, right? And that's exactly what those abilities were. And once the Seal Judgment system came to light, we wanted that entire system to be sort of all-inclusive. And the previous strikes that weren't connected to that system no longer fit within that mold. So they would have felt really odd, next to all the other abilities.
So basically, Crusader Strike and Holy Strike were just placeholder abilities. And they had planned on adding the Seal system, which Paladins eventually...
let me just... give me a second.
Eventually got the entire time. They just kind of added it very late in development, as the seal system wasn't implemented until about 2 weeks before the game went live. So it was a very last-second change with almost no testing at all, and it wasn't a very popular DPS system. And since this change was so last-second, mobs in the old-school Scarlet Monastery still used the old-school's Crusader Strike and Holy Strike abilities, as they were modeled after beta paladins. And at number 9, we have Trip. Now, for some of the abilities I'm going to talk about in this video, I don't actually know which class they belong to specifically, so I might need to make an educated guess for one or two of them, and I'm pretty sure Trip was supposed to be a rogue ability. So what this ability does is on your next weapon swing, it would trip your target, do a little bit of damage, and then award you 1 combo point. What the trip actually did, it never actually said, but I assumed it was some kind of stun for like a second or so.
I'm guessing it's the trip where like you wobble and like kind of like it could stop casts and stuff. That's actually like interesting.
It didn't cost any energy, but the fact that it did give you a combo point is a pretty good indicator that it was supposed to be a rogue ability. And I have a little bit more confirmation to that, as the ability has the exact same icon as the Hunter ability called Wing Clip. And the name of that icon, when you look at it in the game files, is called Ability Rogue Trip, which is a pretty clear indication that it was supposed to be a rogue ability, and it did make it into the game as an NPC ability for 2 mobs in the Hillsrat Foothills and Silverpine Forest. Kind of like how there's mobs in the game who have the beta Paladin's Crusader Strike. Although there's not too much confirmation in patch notes that rogues had this ability, so it was most likely never actually given to them, and just kind of intended to be given to them. And at number 8, we have Thunderbolt. This was an early shaman ability with a really unique and kind of overpowered effect, because basically what it does is it literally allows you to throw your weapon at the target for nature damage, interrupt spell casting for 15 seconds, which is like 3 times longer than the average interrupt logout, I might add, and then leave you unarmed the entire time this ability is airborne. Which seems kind of like Earth Shock a little bit, in that it does nature damage and interrupts, which is probably why it was never actually given to shamans. There's also a data mined item called the Tablet of Thunderbolt, which is a class ability item that requires level 32, and has the effect of teaching a shaman the ability Thunderbolt. So this one has a pretty clear indication of which class it was meant for, and the ability is very similar to Meriden Stormbolt ability. So it seems like it could have easily been converted into a warrior ability as well, if they just removed the mana cost and made it interact with rage instead. But the ability honestly seemed kind of powerful with that super long interrupt, and shamans already had Earthshock as a really good interrupt, so they didn't really need Thunderbolt as well. So kind of makes sense why it was never actually added to the game. And also, just a little note, something I found while I was editing this video and putting the pictures together, the icon for Seal of Righteousness ability, which depicts a flying hammer, is known as Thunderbolt in the game files. This seems to be a trend amongst a lot of these abilities in the beta, never actually made into the game. They just reuse the same icon over and over without changing the name of the ability, and just keep whichever ability it was originally given to. And at number 7, we have Shadow Word Befuddle. This was supposed to be a priest ability that when cast on an enemy target would befuddle them for 30 seconds, making their spells cast much slower. So it seems like it was supposed to be a priest version of Curse of Tongues.
Yeah.
And the reason I know this was supposed to be a priest ability is the same reason I know Thunderbolt was supposed to be a shaman ability, as there's a codex in the game files called Codex of Shadow Word Befuddle, which
Befuddle, like, let me check what the fuck it means, because I never heard, but like it sounds like the least like dangerous word. Befuddle meaning make unable to think clearly. Oh, make someone unable to think clearly. Oh, like I thought it was like make someone unable to speak clearly. Like, I got befuddled. Like, what the fuck? Like, it sounds like so innocent. I got befuddled.
Requires a priest class to use, and will teach them level 1 befuddle at level 24. It seems like it would have been neat for Priest to also have a Curse of Tongues, but overall, not the biggest loss in the world that they never actually gave it to Priest. And at number 6, we have Mind Rot. This is another Priest ability, which is very similar to Hunter's Viper Sting, in that it will put a dot on the target, which will drain mana every time it ticks instead of dealing damage. Except Mind Rot seemed to have lasted for 30 seconds, instead of the shorter 8 seconds of Viper Sting. And just like a lot of abilities on this list, the reason I know it's a Priest spell is because there's a codex in the game files that teaches this ability to Priest at level 38. Now, as to why this was never added to the game, it's probably because Priests already have another mana burn ability called Mana Burn, and it's reasonable to assume they didn't want to give Priests 2 separate mana burn abilities, especially one in the form of a dot, and then another in the form of a spammable cast. And a little note about the icon for Mind Rot. This icon is more commonly used for the Spell Lock ability that a Warlock's Pet Fellhunter has, and the icon in the game files is still known as Mind Rot. And at number 5, we have Holy Ward. This ability would give you an absorption shield that would only absorb holy damage, very similar to Shadow Ward, Frost Ward, etc. Lots of casters in Vanilla WoW had damage shields that only worked on one type of magic. Although there was this little distinction about holy damage specifically in Vanilla WoW, in that players could not get resistance to holy damage. It was the only type of damage which existed in the game as its own damaging type, that there was no gear that allowed you to get holy resistance. So it would make sense that they removed Holy Ward to kind of fit in line with the whole holy damage is the only damage that players can't resist mantra. And this was a Warlock ability, seeing as there's an
this
item
was
in the
a
game files
Warlock?
called the Grimoire of Holy Ward, which allows Warlocks to train it at level 40. And
Oh,
since
well,
Warlocks
I
also
guess,
had
like,
Shadow Ward in Vanilla WoW, it kind of made sense that they would also have Holy Ward as well, seeing as mages had Frost and Fire Ward.
Yeah, actually, it makes sense.
Kind of makes sense that they didn't give it to Warlocks eventually.
I've seen on
it
a
seems kind of
priest.
weird that a shadow damaging spec would have protection from holy damage. And then in Legion, Holy Ward was added back to the game in the form of a PvP talent for Holy Priests, and it worked nothing like its beta version, and instead kind of worked like Fear Ward, in that you placed it on a friendly target and it would prevent the next CC effect, instead of just a fear like Fear Ward did. So it was added in the game as kind of a completely different ability, just sharing the same name. Which leads me into the next item on this list. And at number 4, we have Seal of Righteousness. Now, this ability did actually make it into Vanilla WoW, but the version that existed in the beta was completely different to what it turned into in the live version of the game. That it's basically a different ability. Because what beta Seal of Righteousness did was give a buff to a weapon for 1 minute, which increased the amount of damage you did to undead targets only. And this ability could be cast on other players, and also had no judgment interaction, because judgment didn't exist in the same form as it did when it went live. So this was a completely unique ability that Blizzard removed, kept the name, and then created a new ability and gave it this name, as what Seal of Righteousness did in Vanilla WoW was added extra holy damage to your attacks, could not be cast on other players, and dealt holy damage if it was consumed by judgment. So, in the live version of the game, Paladins had 3 abilities that only worked on undeads, but they had 1 more in the beta, making them the ultimate anti-undead playable class. Although it makes sense why they just removed another one of their anti-undead abilities, because abilities that only work on undeads are useless in like 90% of the game. And at number 3, we have Sleep. Funny enough, this ability was given to 2 classes in the beta of WoW, before being changed to basically Hibernate and given to Druids. And what it did was, on a 1.5 second cast time with no cooldown, you could just
It was a sap, basically.
put an enemy target to sleep for 45 seconds. So, a pretty powerful CC. And it was originally given to priests, as again, there's even a codex in the game files that show that it
telling about the codexes. Oh my fucking god.
can be learned by a priest at level 6. But in the beta,
I respect the professionalism about but oh my fucking god, how many codexes? Thank you so much.
they decided to move this ability over to mages, and it worked exactly the same way. And there's even a Tome of Sleep in the game files. as it shows that mages could learn it at level.
Technically, like you can really like think about like how people are stupid, and then you can get teached how to fucking sleep in WoW. Thank you for this joke. You can unsubscribe, leave a dislike, and a hateful comment. But like for real, like Tome of Sleep. Never heard of like the sleeping thing? We can learn it in here. Let's go.
8. But then in patch 0.8, still in the beta, sleep was changed into polymorph for mages, and then druids were given hibernate in beta patch 0.12, which is an ability that can put a target to sleep, but only works on beasts and dragons. And at number 2, we have a weird ability called Ethereal Form, which is a 5-minute cooldown ability that makes the user immune to physical damage, but unable to use physical abilities for 10 seconds. So kind of like a Paladin's Blessing of Protection, full immunity to physical damage but unable to attack. Or the old school version of it anyway, as I think the current version of Blessing of Protection does allow you to attack while it's on you. Anyways, it seems as if Ethereal Form was supposed to be a shaman ability, as there's a tablet in the game files called the Tablet of Ethereal
Jesus
Form.
Christ.
And it shows that shamans could learn this ability at level 24. So it almost seems like the shaman version of Blessing of Protection. And honestly, thematically, Ethereal Form seems like it makes more sense than Blessing of Protection for the kind of effect it provides with the downsides. Also, something interesting I found out while editing this video, Ethereal Form was added to the game in Legion in the form of a PvP talent for shamans, and it functions very similar to how it did in the beta. Okay, and at number 1, we're just gonna have a whole bunch of other shaman abilities, because when I first started making this video, I didn't actually know which classes a lot of these abilities came from, so I just put a lot of the shaman ones at number 1 because there seemed to be a lot of them at the time, and then it ended up a couple of the other ones earlier on the list also happened to be shaman abilities, but whatever. So first up we have Group Astral Recall, which on a 15-minute cooldown will send everyone in the caster's group back to their Hearthstone location. So it's kind of like a mass Hearthstone cast without activating the cooldown of your group's Hearthstones, and seems like an incredibly good ability.
You could fucking throw people the fuck out, especially in vanilla. Yeah, hello, goodbye.
As the Hearthstone cooldown was 1 hour long in vanilla, and the ability was never actually given to shamans, but funny enough, the icon used for this ability is known as Astral Recall Group in the game files, despite the fact that the icon is used for a lot of other things. Next up we have Invisibility Totem, which is a totem you can summon that would give everyone in your group invisibility for 1 minute.
What the
Although,
fuck?
based on the wording of this ability, I assume it just worked while you were near the totem, and
Yeah.
didn't actually let you stay invisible outside of the vicinity of your totem. Now, this ability was never actually added to the game, but another shaman totem was added later on in the beta called Grace of Air Totem, which uses Invisibility Totem's icon, and in the game files, the icon for Grace of Air Totem is known as Invisibility Totem, which means Invisibility Totem was added to the game files first. Next up we have Shock, or Lightning Shock as it was called later on in the beta, which is very similar to the shock spells that shamans eventually got in the live version of the game, where they were all instant cast, had a 20-yard range, 6-second cooldown abilities that shared a 6-second cooldown between them. And they all did something different, whereas Shock has all of these features except it only just does nature damage, and has no indication that it shared a cooldown with other abilities, which leads me to believe this was just the very first iteration of the shock system they had in the game, and then they removed this one and then added in the 3 shaman shocks they eventually got. Or maybe this one was just an extra shock on top of the other 3. And next up we have Lightning Storm, which is an AoE lightning ability that you would cast on a targeted area and then just leave it alone. There are mobs in the game who have an ability very similar to this, and the icon they use for Lightning Storm in the beta is also named Lightning Storm, although I don't think any other players can actually use this icon, so it doesn't really matter like it does for the other ones I mentioned. And lastly, we have Molten Blast, which is a spammable fire-based damaging ability with no cooldown and a lower cast time than Lightning Bolt. And I guess it would make sense why they removed a second castable spell with no cooldown, as the class didn't really need to have 2 of them. And I assume they later incorporated this ability into the Lava Burst ability shamans eventually got in Wrath of the Lich King. And unlike a lot of these abilities, Molten Blast was actually given to shamans to test in the beta, and then it got removed in beta patch 0.8. Alright, and that's it for all of the abilities in the beta that didn't.
Thank you so much, Vyrah, for the sub 10. This was interesting. A lot of like weird ones, but like you like if you understand the logic of development and like the philosophy that they had back then, it's actually like it's actually really interesting to ponder about. But like you just need some background to kind of like understand like the logic of it. But it was really interesting. Don't forget to leave a like, to subscribe to Vyrah.
The following is rated S for spoilers. The following is rated S.
Okay. On this game trailer, 007 First Light, I heard a lot of buzz about it. I am not like a big fan of James Bond, especially like video game wise. So I'll just let's just check out the Honest Game trailer, seeing what it's about, because like for sure, like this is James Bond. Like First Light is really a game I will not spend time interesting myself, just like wasting my time on it. So let's check it out.
The following is rated S for spoilers. From the studio that gave us one of gaming's most iconic characters.
And by the way, it's really strange, like a James Bond game became so successful and did so much buzz. Like, it's just surprising. Good on them, but like for real, like Hitman is already something that like a type of game that like I do not care, but James Bond, god fucking damn it, no.
And made him wear a chicken suit as a main focus of gameplay. Comes their take on another legend of sneaky peeky, shooty scooty, showing you a side of Bond that you've never seen before, hitting puberty. Bond.
Jesus Christ.
James Bond. 007. First Light. Take a jaunt into the jolly good world of British espionage as 007 makes its way into the mainstream video game scene with an IP as old as you screaming about golden guns and Oddjob being cheap. But this is a brand new game for a new era, as long as you don't count all the straight-from-movie garbage that no one gave a shit about, as you discover Gen Z James Bond.
Yeah, because like the James Bond games kept on going and it was never really good. It wasn't never completely like awful. If you're a James Bond fan, it's better than nothing, right? But like it was never like First Light type of like buzz, you know, like
fresh off the block with a brand new Riz, no cap. Now with 70% less misogyny, which is a really easy mark to hit if you watched any Connery films.
Man talk.
Dive into the non-canonical origins of the smoothest JB since JB Smooth.
Open that one more time. Open it again. Open it again. Oh!
As you play a young Bond from his humble origins as army guy, all the way to secret agent, where his disregard for orders and making a mess only gets him more promoted even harder. Then watch as he gets accepted into Hogwarts, I mean the revamped Spy Kids program. Revived for a makeover after years of being buried, in an extremely meta nod at reviving this IP. There, you'll be forged into the ultimate super spy by doing a ton of tutorials, getting into some hooliganism, and watching all your friends get killed. Then vow to get revenge as Dark Bond, complete with tactical black turtleneck, where you'll travel the world to chase down the rogue 009, only to find out he's dead, and even worse, Lenny Kravitz is there. Okay,
Lenny
I know celeb
Kravitz.
cameos are like a thing for the studio, but not letting me punch Lenny Kravitz in the balls is a huge oversight. Man's been asking for it since 2015. Huge oversight.
Lenny Kravitz. Well,
Has been asking for it since 2015.
what the
Peel
fuck?
away layers of conspiracy until you find the real mastermind, like any good Bond film.
And it's actually you, or like some fucking like preachy story.
Spoiler
Okay, no,
alert, the dude with the most
forget
money
what I
did
said.
it. As you uncover that a billionaire who sold their super spy computer to the spy agency has to cover for their terrible AI always being wrong about everything. That may be more realistic than a continent-destroying laser, but is ultimately even more ridiculous, because clearly you can make an AI that turns out useless garbage, and they'll throw money at you anyway. These evil plots used to be fun, not just an accurate portrayal of reality. Where's my moon base? Where's my Bond girl named Vagina O'Plenty?
My name is Galore.
Get your license to not kill with the extremely similar playstyle of Hitman, minus a bunch of the stuff that makes those games fun, as 007 focuses more on investigation, charm, and stealth, as you use nifty gadgets and distractions to try to be as subtle as possible, going through different maps with efficient navigation, just plain lying, or punching them out fast enough to not draw attention. Then, finally get permission to shoot, because apparently there's a rule that spies can't just unload into a crowd, with cover shooting that feels like the spiritual successor of Uncharted, especially when you wobble from cover to cover, like you've been on an Elon-sized dose of horse tranks, fighting the controls so you don't pop out of cover to accidentally get riddled with bullets, with limited ammo that will have you running to pick up your enemy's guns, and throwing your empty guns at their faces to get another gun while they're dazed. That when done right makes you feel like you're straight up John Wick. And when it doesn't, feels like you're Jack Black doing motion capture for Kung Fu Panda, with some really interesting action gameplay that would be amazing if you weren't fighting with your controller like a child without his ADD meds. You know, you would think that James Bond would have better coordination. Then you remember he's canonically an alcoholic.
3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily, shake it over ice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
So strap on that fancy spy watch and put on your best British accent, isn't it? For a revamp of 007 that, despite its rough patches, faithfully delivers the charm and flavor of the franchise with a solid solo experience that we can only hope will justify a sequel, because even if AAAs are in the toilet, it would be awesome to see more games that deliver on a big budget's promise. A fun game. Look, I just want to drive
That's actually awesome to know.
headlights, and there hasn't been a Twisted Metal game in forever, okay? This will do for now. Starring Inspector Gadget, weird-looking Bond girl, smallest currency, Madam I'd like to fornicate, British John Waters, totally spy, Elon Musket, Jared Leto
Musket.
again, Glock, and Lenny Kravitz as himself. Did anyone tell him to play a character? Because he clearly wasn't listening.
Now, you die.
Mission Timpossible. Honestly, the most anxiety-inducing part of this game isn't defusing a bomb or running to an exit on time. It was this bow-tie QuickTime event. I just really didn't want to disappoint my dad. Q. There isn't unresolved trauma or anything. I swear. Tell us what you'd like to hear in my epic voice.
Pretty
in the
much
comments.
like this gave me like all the reasons like to confirm that like I'll never play this game. But it's cool that like they delivered something when it comes to AAA, to the classic AAA, let's say. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Honest Game Trailer. All right. I'll thank you for coming. Zuriku, thank you for blessing my day by coming by my stream. That's it for now. I still have like other duties to fucking do. So yeah, I'll see you another time, and as always, be toxic.